Hello everybody, this is Civil Authority. My name is Rick Hidalgo and this is the channel that exposes to you the truth about who you are. Hello everyone, this is Rick Hidalgo. I'm so glad that you're with me again. It's been a while since we've been together because I had to take some time to refresh myself and to come to a place where I could more succinctly discuss the things that need to be discussed in order to help you arrive at the right conclusion as to why it is that your rights and liberties seem to be under attack. It's all boiled down to one specific set of laws that are unspoken laws, yet they're all over judicial decisions since the very beginning of time. And that is something called the law of agency. If you're not familiar with the law of agency, I'd like to direct you to a book. It's a free ebook that you can find on Google Books. It's called A Treatise on the Law of Agency, and I'd like to direct you to it so you can learn for yourself all that I'm about to explain to you. And it's very important that we begin to tear this down and understand it in a way that we never have before. The definition of agency is it's a legal relation founded upon the expressed or implied contract of the parties or created by law, by virtue of which one party, the agent, is employed and authorized to represent and act for the other. The principal. In business dealings with third persons, the distinguishing features of the agent are his representative character and his derivative authority. So the definition of the law of agency is that which you can apply agency to. So if you think about it, what we're talking about here is pretty simple. We're talking about an agent is one who represents the interest, the intent, or the legal capacity of another. That's kind of what it boils down to. But the one who the agent is representing is called the principal. The principal throughout time has also been called the sovereign. The sovereign is he who has the capacity to create agency. The sovereign or the principal is also known as the owner. He is the one who has authority to create agencies in order to conduct his business, conduct his affairs, and administrate his property. So these are very important aspects to keep in mind, because what we're going to find out is that several of the patriot concepts that have been around are in fact correct, but they're not in fact correct the way that we thought they were. As we thought that for many years we thought that there was something wrong with the birth certificate, that the birth certificate was somehow involved in a megalithic conspiracy. I want to retract your mindset from that. It's not a megalithic conspiracy, but it is proof that an organization has been formed. When you have a child, and you fill out the proper documentation to get that child registered into the governmental system, you're in fact supplying intent and supplying authority to an entity who then takes hold or captures the organization, and then by the laws of agency has the authority to do things on behalf of that organization. What you're actually doing when you register your child at birth is you're creating an organization for that child, an estate, a trust. Many words that have been used over time are only in part correct. The fact is, there is an organization that's created, and that organization is, under the laws of agency, is taken under the interest of the state. The state takes interest, title, use, and interest in the organization, and they show you that by putting their seal on the registered document. It's basically a probating document. They're basically saying that now this entity that has been born into the world by flesh and blood is now an organization, and that this organization is going to be governed under the laws of the said state, whatever state that you registered that child into. Now, those laws are not necessary. They're not necessary because, see, our Creator already gave us laws to live by. He told us not to kill, not to steal. He told us not to lie. He gave us all the excuse me, all the canon of law, the construction of law that we needed right from the beginning. But when we registered the organization and it was created, what we have left is this implied contract between us and the state, saying that because we have no law, we're going to use theirs. It's an implied contract. It's not necessarily written in any place. It's just implied. When you register something with an entity, that entity is, you're implying that that entity has some consideration in the matter. Well, the state has consideration in the matter of what law applies to this child, this organization. And until either you, the parents, come forward and claim this organization and begin to manage the organization according to the laws of nature and of nature's God, this child is going to continue to be under the laws of the state thereof. And this is where a lot of the patriot myth begins, because we're not understanding that since it's about the laws of agency, that there's always a way to get out of that implied contract, and that is by having a written affidavit placed on top of the authenticated copy of that organization. And I can explain to you how to do that. That's very simple. And that affidavit simply states that you're the owner of the organization, because you're the name that was, written in the document itself. In the registered document, your name appears. So you're one of the holders in due course. So now you're claiming that this organization belongs to you, and that you have competency of the law. You have enough competency in law that you can self-govern. And this is where a lot of people fail, is households don't self-govern anymore. There was a time in the history of the world where the House of Windsor and the House of Smith and the House of Johnson and the House of Timotheus, whatever surname that you want to come up with, that they had self-governing. They were self-governed. And that out of those houses came representatives of those houses into a house of representatives. there was a time when these kind of governments were indeed very real, but we have been so programmed and we've been so manipulated to think that a corporate government or governance is a more appropriate government that we give up our right to self-govern ourselves when we go and elect a city councilman, to do the work for us, or to that's at the local level, or the county level, or we go to the state level and we elect a representative directly. We were never given the authority to directly elect a representative in that capacity. It should have come down that the Constitution that was ratified in 1787, and then with the Bill of Rights in 1791, were absolutely general templates of government that should have applied all the way down to the very smallest faction, and that is the county. We should have a very similar system at the county level, but instead, our counties are incorporated. The cities we live in are incorporated, and we govern ourselves through these corporate models with a board of directors that we like to call city councilmen or whatever. So you see, we have really destroyed ourselves for a lack of knowledge. That's what we've done by not understanding the laws of agency. Now, I'm not going to go any further on that today, but I'm going to come back very soon, and we're going to go into more detail as to how we need to operate within the law of agency in order to rescue ourselves and begin to self-govern ourselves in a way that we can be free, and we can have liberty the way that our forefathers intended, and the way that our Father in heaven intended. So I'm going to wish all of you farewell for today. I thank you very much for listening. I'm trying to keep these videos very short in order to compel more people to listen to these videos. If you think that you've gained some advantage in understanding by listening to this video, I encourage you to pass it on to someone else. I thank you very much for being here at the House of Hidalgo today, and I look forward to next time. So with that, God bless and be safe. In Jesus' name, goodbye.